Welcome back to the Rami Lavi podcast. It's Friday now. We just wrapped up Thursday night football. And the number one takeaway everyone's going to be talking about is Tua Tagovailoa. I want to start there for a second. There's a couple of things. First of all, I understand this is an extremely serious situation, and um, you know, he has to make a serious decision on his health. And I don't know when the next time we're going to see him is. But it's now three times in that one season. It ultimately ended his season. And we basically, everyone agreed that if we see this out of Tua again, and everyone talked about the lost weight coming into the season, is that a good thing or a bad thing? He stayed healthy all year last year with the gained weight. There was even a funny video out there that I saw earlier today with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill being like, oh, we need chubby Tua back. And he loses the weight and he looks good. And in this game, we could talk about him playing the game a little bit because there's a guy out there who, I mean, on some plays looks like he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league where he's faking a guy with his eyes. He's looking one way, making other passes. It feels like in the rhythm of that offense, he is so perfect. And then there are plays when the read's not there and he looks like Zach Wilson mixed with Will Levis. Like he's just awful at times. So there's that part of it. That's fine. But the health part of it, I think everyone understands that when you go through what he's gone through, there is a serious decision here on whether he wants to play football again this year, whether it's in the next couple of weeks or so. Of course, they have 10 days off now, or whether it's not again for a while. I think he has to make that decision and think about it. And part of it is Thursday night games. So as much as the league wants to parade out there and say, oh, we care about player safety, we're going to do the different kickoff because we care about player safety, but we're still doing Thursday night games. Okay, cool. How much do you actually care about player safety, NFL? You don't. And that's fine. You never have. But you need to keep up the appearances that you do as long as it doesn't stand in the way of your money. So you'll have a new dumb kickoff rule that, by the way, I love. This is Al Michaels' first year doing a game with the new, or first game this year doing a game with the new kickoff. I know he did one in preseason, but first real game with the new kickoff. And he's like, and it doesn't make a difference. And the kickoff sucks. And 6-for-6 talks about, oh, they might run this one back. Look at that. Oh, who cares? He was like, he despises the kickoff. And so I love that out of Al Michaels. To Tua, and the point that I'm trying to make is while the decision is serious and while his health is serious, and I'm not making a joke out of any of that, and there's no but coming either. That's it. That's full stop. The thing is, when every single person and their mom on social media feels the need to write, yo, this is a serious decision for Tua, prayers up for Tua, all that stuff, you don't need to get the free clicks. You don't need the easy likes. Like, it's so stupid. Your tweet isn't changing the world. You and your 17 followers are not changing the world because you said, oh, prayers up for Tua Tagovailoa. I don't know why. I wouldn't say it on the app because, I don't know, I'd probably get people coming at me for saying that. I get it. I feel the same way. I think we all agree. Every single person agrees that he has to make a decision with him and his family. This is a terrible situation. Nobody wants to see this. It's awful. All those sentiments that you're sharing online are true. But you just don't need to say it so that everyone can go like your tweet and give you the prayer hands and a couple of heart emojis. Really? I don't think we need it. I think we could, we all agree on it. It sucks. It's sad. It's terrible. That's my feelings on that. As far as the game itself, and I don't want to sound like an idiot. So at risk of sounding like an idiot more than I already have on this podcast, did the Bills scare you in this game? Because I look at their team, I watch their team, and I still see nobody. Like they scored off of 3 turnovers, turnover on downs, and 2 picks. Those were their scores. And they had a long touchdown for Cook. I get that. But it didn't feel like they were dominating. And I'm the whole time, both before the game, when I'm looking at my bets, I'm like, all right, what props should I do? What parlay should I put together? And I look at the Bills and I'm like, who are their receivers? Where are they? And you kept hearing on the broadcast, oh, they're going to run some, some 12-man thing where they have the 2 tight ends on the field. Oh, it's going to be crazy once they whip that out. But they didn't have to whip it out tonight. They didn't. But are we sure it's going to look that great when they do? Like, are you scared of this Buffalo Bills team? And when you look at this from like a strictly competitive standpoint, if Tua Tagovailoa is out for a significant time and they don't bring in a real quarterback here, that's not Skylar Thompson because he can't play. We saw it tonight. We saw it in the playoff game a couple years ago. This kid can't play. And so, I feel for Tua. It sucks for Tua. I don't know if he's going to play again this year. they ruled him out so quickly, which is also odd. You never see that they call it a concussion 6 minutes later. It's pretty crazy, although everyone who saw the play could have told you on the field it was a concussion. You see the same fencing motion with his hands that obviously is a telltale sign of a concussion. So we know what it is. And I don't know. It seems like based on I don't know him. Based on his decisions in the past, I would guess he's going to play again this year. I would guess he's going to play again. Maybe he takes one game off and, the 10 days plus an extra game. So, total comes out to about 16, 17 days off and he's back on the field. That's what I would guess Tua does, but I don't know. But even before he got hurt, he looked awful in this game. The competitive balance in the AFC East, I know the whole division was 1-0, and the only team that lost was the Jets, but the Dolphins or the Bills should not scare you. And I know it's early in the season, every team's sloppy, and it's Thursday night, and I talked about that also on last episode, how, I didn't know what to do with the points because, teams are so sloppy early in the season. And I don't even think they covered ultimately because he went out. I think they fell short of the number because it was like in the high 40s. So even though Buffalo dropped like 30 something points, I have to check what ended up happening with that. Yeah, it's 31-10. That's only 41 points. So this is exactly why I took the Bills team total, because I like the Bills better in this game. I trusted them more than I trust Miami. So I took the Bills team total 23.5, and it hit in the first half. Look at that. Clap it up for your boy who hit their bet. So just going to my football bets on the year. I went 2-3 in week 1, which sucks, but 1-0 now in week 2. So 1-0, team total over 23.5, hit in the first half of the game. I actually boosted it. It was -110, but I boosted it. All right. But overall, when I watch that game, I'm like, yeah, I'm not terrified of anyone in the AFC East. That was my honest feeling on it. Let's go to Sunday and let's preview some of those games. So we have a bunch of games on Sunday, obviously full slate. So I'll give you all my money lines and whatever, and then I'll do what I did last week, which was I will give you a bet from each time slot, and then I will give you a primetime game bet as well. So let's start with just going through the games one game at a time. Let's start with the Chargers and the Panthers at 1 o'clock on Sunday. These are the 1 o'clock games. The Panthers are home. The Chargers are -4.5. Now, I think the Panthers are terrible. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if this is a little bit of a letdown for the Chargers. I don't think there's a team that's worse than the Panthers. I really don't. And we could go back to my power rankings that I had. I'm actually curious. When I did my power rankings, I have the Panthers at dead last. So the Chargers here, I, I kind of like the Panthers +4.5 at home. I really do. Weird things happen. The Chargers weren't all that impressive against the Raiders. They really weren't. And I think the Raiders stink as much as anyone. I'm going to say that the Panthers covered the 4.5. I don't know why, but that's my gut feeling. Again, my gut feeling was wrong almost on every pick last week. So these are not like my bets. These are just, I'm going to pick a side. Raiders and Ravens. I have the Ravens at -8.5, and I like the Ravens at -8.5 at home. Home opener, I think they'll blow out the Raiders. I just told you I hate big numbers, but I told you how much I think the Raiders stink. Seattle is going to New England. It's New England at home, their home opener. So I am going to go with the Patriots, who are +3.5. I'm going to go with Seattle to win and cover the -3.5. The Patriots, nice win for them, but I really don't think they're that good. So I have the Patriots -3.5 at home. Or sorry, I have Seattle -3.5 in New England, and I have the Seahawks winning by more than that field goal. The Packers are +3 in their home opener against the Colts. Now, obviously, no Jordan Love, and Malik Willis, I don't think is very good, but I still think the Packers are a good team. I talked about this earlier. I think they'll survive. I don't think Indianapolis is that great. I like the Packers +3 at home in their home opener. Their defense will come up with some big plays. Something's going to happen in that game. They'll find a way. The Cowboys are home. Their home opener -6.5 against the Saints. Now, the Saints offense looked awesome. They put up a ton of points. Again, it was the Carolina Panthers. That's all I'm going to say. The Cowboys are at home. I think they win by a touchdown, -6.5. I love the number. Give me the Cowboys -6.5 at home. The Bucks go to Detroit, and while I loved what Detroit did in overtime, it wasn't like Detroit was some world beater the whole game against the Rams, and we'll get to the Rams in a second. So at 1 o'clock on Sunday, the Lions are home. The Bucks are on the road. The Bucks +7.5. I think they keep it within the touchdown. I like the +7.5 for the Bucks. Remember, this is a close game in the playoffs. They looked great on Sunday in their first game. Baker Mayfield looked awesome. So I like the Bucks +7.5 on the road in Detroit. Cleveland against the Jags. The Jags are -3 at home, and I know Cleveland's defense is supposed to be great, but their defense got torched, and I don't trust Deshaun Watson for anything. He's got another lawsuit against him now. I think the Jaguars are going to win this game. Jags -3.5. I think the Jags bounce back in a big way, and Trevor Lawrence balls out at home. I like the Jags -3. San Francisco 49ers at Miami or at Minnesota Vikings for the Vikings home opener. It's only 5.5 for the Niners, which is majorly disrespectful to the Jets because if they dominated the Jets to that level and now they're going on the road and they're only 5.5 point favorites against the Vikings. So I know beat the Giants, but it's the Giants. Come on, be real. I like the Niners -5.5. Something's fishy. So those two lines, really, the Niners -5.5 and Tampa +7.5 feel very fishy. Maybe you tease those two together because maybe, I'll highlight that when we get to it on Sunday because those two games, Niners -5.5, Buccaneers +7.5, feels like it should be more. And it's not. So maybe we figure out a teaser with those two. To the afternoon games, 4 o'clock. Let me find them right here. We have the Chiefs are at 4:25, so I'm obviously missing a page here. I'll have to look up the games because I'm missing the 4 o'clock games. I don't have them on my list here. So I'll give you for now, I'll give you a couple, I'll give you two 4:25 games. The Bengals on the road against the Chiefs. The Chiefs are -5.5. I like the Bengals plus the 5.5. The reason I like the Bengals +5.5 in this game is because historically the Chiefs don't cover big numbers at home more than touchdown spreads at home. It's just what happens. And the Bengals, they have to bounce back in a big way. So Bengals going on the road off that terrible game against New England at home, going on the road +5.5. I like the Bengals to cover the 5.5. I do like the Chiefs to win. Denver is home for Seattle for the Steelers. Pittsburgh, that is Denver +2.5. I don't know what you saw from Pittsburgh to make you think that they should be 2.5 point favorites against anyone. I mean, their defense was good. I get that. So maybe their defense, maybe that's all it was. But I like in this game, give me Denver +2.5 against the Steelers. Some of the games I missed, the Jets and the Giants. So here's one. The Jets, I'll give my pick with Bilal on the episode that comes out on the Believe in Jets podcast. That'll be out later today on Friday. The Jets are 3.5 point favorites on the road in Tennessee and Nashville. The Giants are 1.5 point dogs on the road in Washington. I like Washington to win and cover the 1.5 in that game. And then 4:05. This game is the 4 o'clock game, the Rams and the Cardinals. And the Cardinals are -1.5. And this is my first bet that I absolutely love. We talk about bets in each windows. Well, I absolutely love this bet. I'm going to take the Rams money line at +102. In fact, I already bet it. So we'll now give you a game from each window, and then we'll get to Sunday night football in a second. But from the 1 o'clock window, I like the over 45.5 alternate total in the Bucks and Lions game, and the +7.5 for the Bucks. I like the Bucks to cover the 7.5. When you put those two together, it's +149, which is good juice. So over 45.5. I know the Lions didn't put up a ton of points. The Bucks did put up a lot of points. I think between the two teams, they will put up a lot of points on Sunday. Sunday, 1 o'clock in the Dome. I like that game to go over 45.5. Just 23 points from each team. Shouldn't be too terribly difficult. And Tampa to cover the 7.5 point spread to keep it within the touchdown. And then from the 4:05 window or 4 o'clock/4:25 window, I absolutely love the Rams. They are plus money to beat the Arizona Cardinals in Arizona. I don't know why. I thought the Rams looked great. I thought Stafford still looked great. I know they blew it at the end, but I thought they looked awesome. It seemed like if they were going to get a drive in overtime, they would have won two. Cooper Kupp was wide open whenever he wanted it to be, whenever he wanted to be. So I love the Rams at plus money, plus 102, basically even money, but still great value for the Rams to beat the Cardinals in Arizona on Sunday at 4 o'clock. And to Sunday night football, it is the Houston Texans, and they are hosting the Chicago Bears. The Texans are -3.5. And I love that bet. 3.5 seems tiny. I know the Bears defense looked good, but it was against freaking Will Levis. And did you see what their offense looked like? Caleb Williams in his first game. I know Caleb Williams, first game, I get it. Rookie quarterback, I get it. He looked terrible. So in this game, I love Houston -3.5. And is that the actual line or is that my adjusted line? It's possible that that's my adjusted line. We'll look at that in a second as I pull that up. Yeah, the line's -6.5. So that's my bad. Houston is -6.5. That makes a lot more sense. So that's my mistake. I apologize. But I adjusted it to -3.5. They're definitely going to win by 4. Houston is. And I have the Bears team total under 19.5. 19.5 points is their team total. They're not scoring 3 touchdowns. They couldn't score 1 touchdown with Caleb Williams last week. They didn't have an offensive touchdown, so I don't expect them to be scoring a ton. 19.5 points feels like a lot. I know the Texans defense aren't exactly world beaters, should be better than that. Those two combined is plus 112. So again, my 3 big picks for Sunday is in the Tampa Bay Bucks game at the Detroit Lions on Sunday at 1 o'clock. It's the over 45.5 in the game and the spread, which is Bucks plus 7.5. Parlayed together over 45.5 plus and plus 7.5 for the Bucks. That's plus 149. Good odds. And the Houston Texans are -3.5. This is in the 4 o'clock window. First, the late afternoon window. The Rams plus 102. I love that line. Give it to me all day. Rams at essentially even money, even odds. And then Houston, an alternate spread of -3.5, and the Bears team total under 19.5. Plus 112. I love those 3 bets for Sunday. Again, I already won my first bet of the night, so I'm feeling pretty good about myself. By the way, the Yankees tonight, they brought in Clay Holmes in extra innings, and I think we were all agreed this game is over. And the Yankees did it again. Juan Soto with a walk-off, back-to-back walk-offs for the first time in over 3 years. And it's one of those things where it's like, this is part of the merry-go-round. This is part of that time where it's like, all right, are the Yankees good again? Okay, we're back on that part of the season where maybe this year is different. Maybe Juan Soto is enough. Maybe Gleyber Torres is getting hot. Maybe this offense, and you look at this lineup and it feels like it has more firepower than ever, although this lineup has scored a total of 2 runs. They got shut out the first time they put this lineup together, and now they score 2 runs. So this lineup that everyone thinks is the playoff lineup, the lineup that they had tonight, still hasn't shown me anything. So maybe the Yankees are smarter than all of us, or maybe the Yankees told them, hey, you guys better not score a lot of runs tonight or we'll look stupid because the fans think that this is the lineup that should work. I did have a theory on Jason Dominguez. Why did they hold him for the extra 5 days if they were just going to bring him up when Verdugo got hot, actually? If they were trying to get Verdugo going, they did that. So now that Verdugo got going, now you call up Dominguez and you're sitting Verdugo. So my theory on this, why did they call up Dominguez like 5 days after everyone yelled and screamed about him, calling him up, and not like right away, or when they should have called him up 2 days before everyone started yelling and screaming about him? I don't think they wanted the narrative out there to be that they were just waiting for his time to be manipulated, waiting for a point where they could call him up and not give him the service time and not give him the service year and still have his rookie status for next year. I don't think they wanted that to be the narrative. So they think we're actually stupid enough. And I think a lot of people are, because people believe the Yankees that there was another reason outside of the time manipulation that they weren't calling him up. So maybe Yankee fans are as stupid as the Yankees think, because guess what? It was all about manipulating his service time. They just waited an extra 5 days to catch you off the scent and be like, no, we really love Alex Verdugo. And then 5 days later, they called up Dominguez and replaced Alex Verdugo when he actually got hot. It makes no sense other than they just wanted to throw everyone off the scent. Everyone got pissed off. Oh, it was supposed to be all about time manipulation. That's over. Why isn't he up yet? What's going on? You're incompetent. And then 5 days later, once everyone got off of that and said, oh, it must have nothing to do with the time manipulation, they called him up, because it always was about manipulating the service time. That's the Yankees for you. Always trying to outsmart you. Well, They won tonight, and maybe this year is different. I don't know. That's the roller coaster of the season. I hope Luke Weaver is still the closer, though, even though Clay Holmes didn't blow it. All right. Enjoy your games on Sunday. We'll talk to you Sunday night on this podcast. If you're looking for Jets content, Jets preview with Bilal Powell is coming out in a couple hours on the Believe in Jets podcast. Till then, like, subscribe, share the podcast. See ya.